I think it goes for saying a lot of people look at the numbers of a majority of young Americans would choose socialism over capitalism, and they say, well, that's because young Americans haven't felt the direct threat of communism or socialism. And I would say this is our first time feeling the threat of communism or socialism, because communist China lied about this. You guys have been leaders in this, and I followed everything that you've done. I think it's fantastic. But communist China was the root cause of this. They put out propaganda saying it was racist to say that it was from China. And they put out all these messages hiding the fact that it was from them. They lied about this being spread from person to person. And they were successful in their propaganda. And because of what they've done, a communist regime, all of these young people in America, our family small businesses are shutting down. We missed, remember in spring when people were missing their graduations and weddings were canceled for the first time, and prom, remember everybody was sad that prom was canceled. We were all first impacted by communism for the first time, and of course our family members were dying. And so I think it's important to realize this all goes back to an ideology rooted in hiding the truth, oppression of the people, and injustice. And I hope we can make that connection more on. I'm 23, I'm just trying to reach my friends with anti-socialist messaging. You'd think it's not that radical or that controversial to say socialism is bad, communism is bad.
In America.
Yeah, and here are survivors of a communist regime to tell you how bad it is. I even have to worry about our content not succeeding or being blocked for being controversial now on social media. So it's that situation where at first it was just the far right that was being blocked. At first it was just the national politicians that were extreme. And now it's 23-year-old anti-socialist, pro-capitalist, classical liberal conservatives. And I actively say, be a conservative, be a Republican, or be a Democrat, but at least be on the foundation of classical liberalism. And now that's not even possible on social media without the potential threat of us having to be silenced. And it's sad. Packing the Supreme Court, all of this is happening at the same time. And for people who are in tune with history and who are aware of the threat that we're facing right now, we understand that America is very fragile and that we aren't exempt from a socialist overthrow, or at least just a socialist decay of slow over time of our policies and our structure and our economy. We understand that we're not exempt from that, and we see the threat. And so I see it as like we are at the top of this volcano running down the mountain, and lava is about to come over, and there's all these happy people down in the town who just have no idea what's about to hit. And so when I interview these survivors, they tell me, I kid you not, they tell me I have PTSD watching what's going on in the news today. People who escaped Venezuela say, I look at what's going on with Antifa in Portland, with Chaz and Chop, and I have PTSD from what's on the news in America, because it's exactly what happened to us. That's heartbreaking.
So what more do you plan to do? What more do you think can be done?
And we really focused on reaching millennials and Gen Z, and that's because we have to be reactive. Both of these generations missed out on crucial education in the system. They went to college, and then they got their Marxist professors, and then they had pop culture and the indoctrination of Hollywood and then mainstream media, and it all pushes this false lie of the left. And they fell for it because they didn't have the intellectual ammunition. And so our reactive sense is to say, okay, we have to get them the truth. But at the same time, we have to figure out, are we going to keep doing this for every generation after they've been lied to, after they've been through this entire system, or are we going to fix the root of the problem? And so I've been talking with a lot of groups in DC, with a lot of conservative donors, saying, what would it look like if we attacked the root of the problem and went to the education system? And I'm talking middle school, high school, so I'm very excited by this, but we have to get proactive to make sure what happened to Gen Z and millennials does not happen to a third, fourth, fifth generation of Americans. And I see that as being my long-term goal for the country and just my life passion.
大纪元时报遍布全球，不受财团、政党影响，真实感言。不管是想了解国际局势、两岸议题，或者想要寓教于乐、丰富人生，您需要的都在大纪元时报。订报专线0800566688。